I'm Darren with Akshon Esports, and welcome back to Akshon Recap, the show where we highlight various stories ongoing within the esports community. For our first story of the day, we're going to follow up on yesterday's video. Dallas Fuel tank player OGE was called out by many members of the Korean Overwatch community, with Fissure being the most vocal. OGE has now issued an apology for having chosen the path of a booster in the past, and how he mishandled the recent online fallout. Quote, I am sincerely apologizing for what I've done in the past, as well as the recent events that have caused damage to Overwatch fans, players, and fellow pro gamers. I believe my actions deserve to be condemned and punished. If you guys have any feedback or messages, please DM me. I'm sorry. In response to this tweet, there are generally two schools of thought that have developed. There are still those who are very unhappy that a person who violated the terms of service was allowed to pursue a professional esports career and consider him as an embarrassment to the pro player profession. Many in Korea are still advocating for him to permanently leave the league if he truly wants to redeem himself and make a donation to charity. On the other side of the fence, there are those who are applauding the player for having the courage to admit to his mistakes and open himself up to criticism and feedback so that we as a community can move past this rough patch. All OGE can do is try to be an upstanding role model that fans can be proud of and cherish the opportunity that he has been given. This apology doesn't wipe away what he has done in the past, but allows us to move forward and give the player a chance to redeem himself, not through words, but his actions in the coming weeks. I can see where both sides are coming from, but ultimately, it was Blizzard's choice to allow OGE to participate in the Overwatch League after having gone through a brief suspension. From the Fuel's game against Seoul, it was clear that OGE in the tank role has renewed hope in Dallas fans, so it'd be heartbreaking for them to lose such a talented player before he could even make a substantial impact. On the other hand, Fissure on his Twitch talk show yesterday discussed his thoughts on boosters in further detail, going to topics such as why Koreans are so vocal about boosters compared to the West, where it isn't as looked down upon. It's a very lengthy show that goes over 2 hours long, but I'll provide a link to the translated transcript courtesy of TizRobin311 in the description box below. So, what are your thoughts on OGE's response and the follow-up from the community? Are people just jealous and salty, or was Blizzard too light-handed in allowing OGE into the league? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Next up, after suddenly releasing their old coach Bishop during Stage 2 due to internal issues that need to be immediately addressed, the London Spitfire have brought on Agape as part of the team's coaching staff. Agape previously worked with LW Blue, or what we now know as NYXL, during their Apex days, and according to the post, he provided assistance to the Spitfire's setup, allowing them to win Stage 1 of the inaugural Overwatch League season. In the announcement, Agape commented, quote, I am so happy to be a part of Spitfire again. I hope I can bring all of my experience to help the team succeed even more in the future. Agape will initially work as a remote coach for the Spitfire before making a full transition to the team after a few weeks as they prepare for the end of the season playoffs. It is believed that this delay is at least partially due to the paperwork and wait period that comes with applying for a visa to work in America. Before we move on to our next topic, the Spitfire's general manager, Susie Kim, had a bit of fun last night taking profit to In-N-Out. She attests that it is a really good place to eat after a win, despite how serious the Valiant made it out to be with agilities. Stepping back from talking about the players, Overwatch League's on-air talent, Soe Gschwin-Penski, announced that she will no longer be on the analyst desk. There were those that were quick to jump on the idea this was a result of the criticism over the desk's predictions being more personal and fluff than based on critical thinking and facts. But realistically, the Overwatch League broadcast is still evolving with each passing week. The production team is clearly making an effort to improve in all areas, so having Soe conduct more interviews, hyping the crowd up, and participate in areas that allow her to interact with the fans seems to be a more likely reason for a shift in her role. Additionally, Puckett will be taking a short break to visit some family and watch some Call of Duty. This leaves Golden Boy to fill in for him on the desk next week. For our last story of the day, it seems that the Avoid player system is working as intended, especially in high SR. Earlier today, Fuey500, a notorious high-ranking Torbjorn player who was at the center of the one-trick controversy, made a tweet containing a screenshot notifying him that he could be facing longer than average queue times, as he's been marked with the Avoid as a teammate status by a considerable number of players. If you think about it, given how few players there are relative to the rest of the community and how everyone only has 2 slots to avoid players, there must have been a significant number of people that really did not want to play with this guy in their games. Players that are well known as one-tricks are probably going to be facing the brunt of the avoid player system, as it can be argued that it could be considered unfair for them to have longer queue times. But in the end, it comes down to the preferences of those who end up playing with one-tricks to choose to use this tool or are not, as opposed to Blizzard forcing a solution upon the community. Overall, the system has been less impactful as expected in lower to mid SR tiers, given how many players there are actually in these ranges, but it has seen positive feedback at higher tiers of play, where the small pool of players means that you are likely to be frequently matched with the same high SR players every game. This isn't a fix that works for all players, but it at least satisfies some of those at the upper echelons of play who are coincidentally some of the most popular streamers in addition to pro players, whose influence and outlook on the game will hopefully have a trickle-down effect and better the attitude of the community as a whole. That's all for now, but we'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. What do you think of the player avoid system? Is it something that you see yourself actively using in each game, or is it something that doesn't really affect you? Either way, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, thank you for watching, and be sure to like and share this video as it really helps us out a lot. And if you want to stay up to date with all of our latest releases, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to stay notified. Otherwise, this has been Darren from Akshon Esports, and we'll see you in the next one.